This video might be a little too niche, but oh well. One thing about me is that I love visiting places in books or like movie adaptations of books. It makes these stories really immersive, really brings these fictional worlds to life for me. And really I'm talking about visiting places from books from genres like magical realism, horror, fantasy, sci-fi, books that really feel larger than life. Visiting places from like hyper-realistic fiction or non-fiction books just doesn't hit the same. I mean, really what it comes down to is that I am just trying to live in a fantasy world. I'm straight up trying to live in the books that I read, which just sounds like a super healthy, well-adjusted thing to do, yeah? I've done this with some of the Stephen King universe in Maine. I've done this with Twilight in Forks, Washington. And most recently, I've spent an afternoon in Grover's Mill out of H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds.
Are in reality the flaming vanguard of the invasion from Mars.
The War of the Worlds was published in 1898, and it is one of the first and most influential alien invasion stories ever written. The book depicts a Martian attack on Earth, where the arrival of the Martians quickly leads to chaos and destruction and societal collapse. So I recently read this book, and just take a minute to admire the cover of this book. It's super cool. I have one other sci-fi book with a similar style cover, and that is Kurt Vonnegut's The Sirens of Titan. Definitely want to get more of these. They are super cool to look at. So yeah, I recently read this and it was pretty scary, honestly. The Martians operated these really tall tripod-looking killing machines and these heat rays that would set everything on fire, and they would release this toxic poisonous gas that would kill humans instantly, and it was all just really frightening. As I said before, this story has been immensely influential and it has spawned, many adaptations over the past 125 years.
That is so weird. The wind is blowing toward the storm.
One of those adaptations was a live radio broadcast on the day before Halloween in 1938. It was narrated by Orson Welles, and this broadcast infamously created this widespread mass panic when listeners thought that it was real, that like Martians were actually invading Earth. And let's just sit on that for a minute. A 23-year-old radio host gave a broadcast about an alien invasion, and people thought it was real. People were calling the police and newspapers and radio stations. There were reports of stampedes. Apparently, local legend says that some residents in New Jersey actually started shooting at a water tower because they thought that it was a Martian. Just an absurdly poignant example of the power of fake news. So in this radio broadcast, the landing site for the Martian capsules and really the start of the invasion was in Grover's Mill, New Jersey. This is different from the book where the invasion started in London and the surrounding areas. But for this adaptation, they started in New Jersey and then made their way to New York City. Now, Grover's Mill is a real town in New Jersey. It is right outside of Princeton, and I went there. Here's how to spend your perfect War of the Worlds alien invasion themed afternoon in Groversville, New Jersey. First, you're gonna go to Van Nest Park. It is a tiny little community park, but it has this large monument that says Martian landing site and pictures one of those giant Martian killing machines. Kind of like a little outdoor museum because it has a bunch of signs set up that give you some context. It tells you about the War of the Worlds book, and it also gives you some info on that 1938 radio broadcast. Next, you're gonna check out the historic Grover's Mill Red Barn. This is right around the corner from that park, and it is kind of like the landmark of the town. And it was reportedly a part of the attack, and it's just kind of like a fun little photo op. And then you're gonna go to the Grover's Mill Coffee Company. This place went all out in terms of their War of the Worlds alien invasion theme. And it might be my favorite coffee shop that I've ever visited. The walls are completely decked out with War of the Worlds memorabilia and artwork. Have this big alien looking tripod monster in their shop. Some historical documents on the wall, and I even saw a letter that was signed by Orson Welles. Their coffee tagline is "Out of This World Coffee," and then on their menu they also have a green alien latte, which is made with pistachio, and it was super fun and super good. This place was awesome and you should definitely check it out. Thanks so much for watching. I don't know if anyone else gets as excited as I do about weird, obscure bookish travel, but if you do, let's be friends. And let me know if you end up visiting Grover's Mill.